Several years ago, I finally got an idea to deal with an urban problem I'd been contemplating for many years before that. What to do about the perpetual tagging problem that plagues every city and suburban community. I named this new concept tag art, and I set out to convince someone in LA County government to let me try out my theory to combat tagging. An aide to LA Council member Paul Krikorian was intrigued and arranged a meeting at LA City Hall with officials who might be interested in tag art. 4 years later, Vincent Marino, CalTrans District 7 Vandalism Coordinator, was still on board with tag art and had a solution to establish a test site so I could field test my theory. After many years in development, I was finally on my way to discovering if tag art was a viable solution to at least a part of the tagging problem. Before we look at tag art in action, let's first look at my initial promotional video explaining the tag art concept.
Tag art is a proposed ongoing art project, a collaboration between artists, CalTrans, LA Public Works Community Beautification Program, and the Public Art Division of the LA Cultural Affairs Department. Combining elements of such programs as Adopt a Highway for litter removal, public mural productions, and the Civilian Conservation Corps of the 1930s, tag art takes a chunk out of the tagging problem in LA. The tag art concept attacks the blight of tagging with the artistic sword of artists. Whenever taggers strike, our team of artists strike back. Before I demonstrate the solution, let's quickly look at the problem. Throughout LA, and every other city in most of the world, taggers mark their territory. Today they utilize YouTube and other internet sites to promote and validate their work, and thereby perpetuating the problem. Other taggers add their art to the urban canvas, creating what is for the rest of us urban blight. Left unabated, the tagging becomes an integral part of the broken window theory of urban decay. At ever-increasing intervals of time, city and state workers paint over the tagging. The response from taggers? Thank you for the new canvas. And so the cycle begins again, endless tagging and endless patches of countless shades of gray. Like Sisyphus in Greek mythology, forever pushing the boulder up the hill only to have it roll down before he gets it to the top, so goes the endless repainting of every tagging-prone surface. CalTrans workers with their paint buckets and rollers could utilize this sign when on the job. Tag art provides another approach. Rather than giving taggers a new canvas painting over their work, we add to their canvas, creating a work of art, and at the same time rendering their tags unreadable, destroying their message. When they tag over the newly created artwork, we respond, "Thank you for your contribution." And when they tag it again, fantastic, it's an ever-evolving mosaic. As the canvas evolves into a more dense mosaic, the tagging attacks become less and less noticeable. Tag art is intended to be created very, very quickly using sponges, textured rollers, and other basic tools. Every work can be created in several minutes to perhaps an hour or so for large surfaces with multiple tags. Though it's said that it's impossible to have all three qualities, fast, cheap, and good, theoretically you can only have two of these qualities. This anti-tagging technique can be employed quickly, artistically, and for pretty darn cheap. Tag art doesn't attempt to stop tagging, it can't be stopped, but rather it turns the table on taggers, essentially tagging their handiwork and snuffing out their message. A tagging makeover, if you will. The tag art program can use multiple funding sources, including grants, to create and reduce tagging. Taggers themselves who have art ambitions can be brought into the program to be mentored by established artists. So which way do we go? Sisyphus or artists?
During the next 4 years after producing that video, tag art slowly becomes a reality. We first had to find an appropriate test site on CalTrans controlled property. Vincent showed me possible test sites that would work. It was a very educational process, as Vincent's expertise on the world of tagging and graffiti gave me insights that would help me develop tag art. We settled on a site in the Cypress Park section of Los Angeles. 6 columns that support the 110 freeway road bed would be the canvases for the tag art pilot program. Paint was donated by Mercedes-Benz corporate headquarters in Berlin from an installation they created at the Museum of Contemporary Art in downtown Los Angeles. A lot of paint. Tag art officially got underway on May 2nd, 2014.
Start on this one and that one, and then see. 4 years trying to set this up. Here it is. About this at City Hall about 4 years ago. Just amazing the amount of time, scheduling, red tape, and I saw them working on this in the courtyard at Mocha, and they had like 100 cans of bright colored paints out there, and I said, gee, what do you do with that leftover paint? We don't know. So I wrote an email, eventually got to the headquarters in Mercedes-Benz in Berlin, and they emailed somebody in New York to email somebody in LA to say, hey, give this guy this paint for his project.
Well done,
so I got a truck full of paint for free. Yes. Thank you, Mercedes-Benz.
With the first round of tag art completed, we now had to wait and see what the taggers would do in response. After the first session of the pilot program, I tried different approaches like creating geometric shapes. On the third session of tag art, we got to see the taggers' response.
This is what we did last week over this tag. Since last week, it got tagged again here with silver spray paint. I've already gone over it once with this red. And what's curious is that they're tagging on areas outside of the tag art treatment. I'm not sure whether to call it artwork yet. It's curious to see if at some point they start tagging over the tag art treatment, and then how long they do that. When will the taggers kind of say, I give up on this because you can't see the tag anymore. Oh, so that's pretty much the end of day 3. I don't know what we got here, but we'll be checking this location out over the next week to see how the taggers deal with it. It seems like they usually come during the week and not on weekends, which I would have thought they'd come on weekends. But this is also, I guess, at nighttime, somewhat of a homeless encampment as well. So there's a bit of a community going on. We should probably ask them how we like the interior decorating here. So hopefully we'll be here again next week. Hopefully the taggers will come back and give us their response, and we'll keep the communication going. So the other day when I drove by here to see if the taggers had hit the area again, I saw this immediately, and I was really surprised at how bold this tag is and how it completely obliterated the tag artwork. And I said, wow, this is going to be a little more difficult than I thought it was. I thought the tag would be more obscured by the very complex design of the tag art, but it really wiped this out. So we're going to see if we can incorporate this tag into the artwork, make it more part of the artwork, and see what they do next round. See if they become more part of a dialogue, if they kind of see this as a dialogue, or they just see us as annoying them. It's interesting to see how they deal with the difference between it completely being wiped clean, like the highway department does, to it actually becoming part of a larger art piece. Maybe we'll find that out, so we'll see. And I did find a empty spray can here on the grounds. For some reason, they didn't touch these two pieces of art. Not really sure why, but they did on the side here. So this tag has a couple of hearts on there. Maybe that means they like us. Maybe they're trying to say we want to show our love for you for participating with our tag. Or maybe that means they're going to send us a love letter. So maybe we should start wearing some bulletproof vests on this job. I think that's the whole trick, is to find that fine line where the tagger can say, hey, that's my tag, and the public can say, hey, that's an interesting piece of artwork up there. So the public doesn't see a tag, but the tagger sees a tag. So everybody's happy. If we could find that fine line, that'd be kind of cool.
By the 5th session of tag art, it was clear that the gang taggers had moved on, and one remaining tagger was indeed participating in a dialogue with tag art instead of battling it.
Since we were here last time, we got tagged once here and once on top, but what's interesting this time is that the tagger didn't tag over the tag art, he tagged around it, so he was almost like working with what we did. So we're going to try to incorporate this tag into the tag art again and see what happens next time. The columns that we haven't been treating farther down the bridge have been tagged a lot since last time. So it appears that the tag art is discouraging the taggers from tagging these columns. Hopefully that continues, because that's what we were hoping to happen. Today we only have one column to deal with after about 2 weeks since we've been here. That's a pretty good track record so far.
I was joined on this session by prominent LA artist Eva Lattis, who would be taking over tag art while I was away on the East Coast for the summer.
It does look like it's the same tagger that's hit this column 3 times now.
See those hard repetitions.
Right.
But I think it could be the same, yeah.
When we first started out, there were 3 gangs tagging over each other on these columns.
Got it.
So maybe the gangs don't think it's worth tagging with all this cacophony of colors going on.
Yeah, it's not, you can't really see it. It's not so noticeable.
I have to go away for a while, and Eva's going to take over for me. And she's a way better artist than me, so I think she'll come up with something way more imaginative. I don't want her spending days here perfecting a beautiful piece of art.
Creating murals.
Eva is a master in very, very intricate architectural drawings. And so this will be a freeing experience for you to get away from that minute detail.
Exactly.
And you're just going to be throwing paint on a column.
It'll be fun.
Yeah,
It'll
it'll
be
be
good.
fun.
I think what would be really great is to cover, do the background and then have a stencils with love and then just put that over it.
Oh, something that kind of unifies the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like you're thinking geometric
Well,
shapes and things like that. That would be perfect.
Yeah. Turn it around and make something positive and beautiful from it, Maybe the kids will get it finally.
We don't want it to be a war. We're trying to be an inclusive.
We don't want to be looking at tags. I mean, it's, if you can do anything good for your environment.
The tagger sees his tag, but probably nobody else does. I mean, they see there's a tag there,
Yeah.
but they see that it's part of something else.
Oh, right.
So it makes everybody happy, the tagger and the public.
Right, there
Maybe.
you go. Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
They're both, yeah.
Each time we've been here, there have been less tags on the columns.
Eva took over tag art for the summer, and filmmaker Jason Stelzell continued to document the process on video.
This one is pretty straightforward. This is a shape that we're creating. A geometrical shape, so that's simple. But with the other tags, you're trying to, incorporate the tag with your sponging, which is a little bit more challenging. I think we're done for today. Hopefully, we don't have to come back, that this will kind of distract them and from the tagging, and we'll see. We'll just keep watching it, and hopefully our job is done. Okay, so here we are on our side about, I would say, a week and a half later. A lot of nice canvas still for these taggers, so we came to 4 pretty big size tags, all in one color, the same tagger. We'll see how long it's gonna take us to discourage them from tagging again. Is that art?
That is art.
While I was on the East Coast over the summer, a construction company moved onto the tag art test site area.
What you've done is working,
Yeah.
and it's decreased the volume from what we saw when we first came
Yeah,
out.
it was really heavy duty when we first started. Yeah.
And again, you have to take into consideration that seasonal work.
Right, yeah.
So now what we need to do is we need to find out who the hardcore is,
Yeah,
right? And then the frequency factor, we'll gauge that in the coming 2 months.
right.
You can stay as long as they can stay, which
Okay.
extends your pilot program.
Oh, okay, great,
Okay?
great.
Which
Yeah.
puts you June 2015.
Okay. Excellent.
Is that all right?
That's great, yeah. That
right.
sounds good.
The addition of their office trailers and storage containers drew graffiti artists to the site, which added a new element to the tag art pilot program. Up to now, only one tagger was hitting our columns.
So this is the last tag artwork we did on these 3 columns, and this was about over a month ago, probably 5 weeks ago, and it hasn't been hit yet by any taggers. So that's a good sign. And now we're going to move to the 2 columns further inside the area here. That's more protected from public view, where taggers have been hitting, and we're going to see how the next round of tag art, how that discourages the tagging or how it affects the tagging at all. So we're going to move over there and see what happens.
A bridge construction supervisor working at the tag art site gave us some insight into the activity of the graffiti artists and taggers hitting the area.
More than 100 times they we applied this.
Oh my God.
Young guy coming and taking pictures for this.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So he's probably the artist, maybe?
He came early, like 6 o'clock in the morning. The guy coming down. They told me young, too young. And they have backpack on the.
Oh yeah.
They have pen
Cans in them. Wow.
every day, every day.
So every day CalTrans comes and paints over it? It's getting very busy.
After nearly 8 months of the tag art pilot program, it looks like this concept for reducing tagging is working. As we continue to experiment, we will begin to raise funding to expand tag art and to get young artists and hopefully taggers themselves involved in this art project to help transform urban blight into urban art.